What is the next guideline? Set the appointment. Bingo. Okay. Guideline number 7. And I'm sick of that. We're doing this. When we set an appointment, do we ask, how soon can you come in? We're open until 9 o'clock tonight. Do we word it that way? There's no sense in urgency. We're not piquing their interest to come in. So anytime we fact find, well, not how soon can you come in this morning, either 9:45 or 10:15. What time works best for you? Oh, you're not available. No problem. Well, either early afternoon, either 1 or 1:45, what works best for you? She says, oh, I'm still not available. Well, 9, we're open until 9 o'clock. What time do you get off of work? Oh, you get off at 6. Great, either 6:30 or 6:45. What time works best for you? So we're constantly coming at them and fact finding when they're going to be available, okay? So whenever we set an appointment, we always stick with the same verbiage. I have an appointment at blank or blank for what works best for you. Never should you hear your reps say, well, we're open to 9, when can you come in? Great, they say, I'll come in this evening. How's that benefit them? Most reps are not looking for someone that just shows if they don't have an appointment set, they don't purchase, right? So make sure that your reps are sticking with guideline number 7, okay? Questions on that so far, anyone? Going through it kind of quick. I could seriously talk about 2 or 3 hours about the 11 basic guidelines. I'm not going to do that to you today. It's Friday. You all want to get home to your families, I'm sure. That didn't work. All right, moving on. Yeah. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like this smart board, but we'll go with it. So guideline number 8, open floor. Which one of your reps are very confident that you know what guideline number 8 is? Managers. Do you know what guideline number 8 is? Yeah. Bingo. Okay. How many people are utilizing the VIP manager in their stores? Raise your hand, nice. Okay, perfect. So we set an appointment immediately. Do you have a pen handy? I have some important information to give you. Oh, you don't have a pen? No problem, I can wait for you. You want them to write down. So VIP manager, your name and number. So every script, we get an appointment. Great, do you have a pen handy? I have some important information to give you. Because your business is so important to us at Blank, I want you to speak directly with my VIP manager when you come in for your appointment. Please write down your appointment with Lyman tonight at 8:30. If anything changes, feel free to give me a call here. Remember, my name is Colin, C-O-L-L-I-N. My direct line is 847-341-9663. So in this step, what are we doing? What's the most important thing? Think back to the 6 guidelines for setting solid appointments. Do we want the customer to verbally agree to a time and write it down? Yes. So in this step, they're confirming the appointment again. Hopefully they're writing it down. And if they don't have time to write it down because they're driving, we ask them for their email address. Or we ask, would it be okay if I texted a confirmation along with directions to our store? I like to play a little game here. Because if I'm a rep on the phone and I see that I do not have an email address, you will not give me your email, but you're driving. Am I going to ask you about text first, or if I can email you? I'm going to go for the email address. I'm going to say, no, John, I don't have your email. You're driving. I want you to drive safe. How about you provide me with your email, or what is your email? I can email you directions and your appointment information. If you have any questions, you can call me back. What we just achieved there is we just received another line of communications with that customer. Hence, if you miss your appointment, I have 1 phone number. I'm going to try to get an additional 2 numbers. I at least have an email to try to contact you now to reconfirm that appointment. Okay. What's another thing a lot of our stores do with emails? You send out sales information, service promotions, things like that. So at this step, if I try to update a lot of my information, get more phone numbers, email addresses. What if I'm a customer and I say, you know what, I don't want to give you my email address? Who has a good idea how you could overcome that objection to get that email address? Any ideas?
say you send out coupons, everybody likes free stuff.
No problem. You know, from time to time, we run some excellent service and sales promotions. The only way to take advantage of this is through email. I would hate for you to miss out on this. Now, what is your email address? Can you spell that? Question? Good? Okay, I saw you raise your hand.
What do you mean by do you have VIP programming?
For some stores, they don't implement every appointment set is with the VIP manager. The reason we do the VIP manager is we don't want to confuse the customer with the first name and last name the salesperson asks for. We want them to feel very important. So every appointment set in the BDC, even if they have an existing salesman, it's still set with the VIP manager. That will be the first contact at the store.
Is that who they come in and ask for is the VIP manager?
Yes. Because the typical person, imagine you were in the car industry for over 10, 15, 20 years. Go back to when you never bought a vehicle before. It's intimidating. You pull in the car lot, oh God, who am I going to talk to? How many salespeople are going to greet me or try to get my business? What if I don't like that salesperson? What do I do? So that's the important part of the BDC. We set it with the VIP manager, so they're arriving at the store. The fence walls are basically down. They know, all right, I park in the front. I just got to ask the VIP manager, and they're going to escort me into that person, and I'll get my visit started.
And who greets that customer? The sales manager, floor manager?
Well, that's the thing.
Assistant manager?
Imagine I have an appointment today. I come in the parking lot, but your Hawkeye salesperson saw me and just went right at me. So we train your salespeople and managers how to greet a VIP appointment and how to greet a customer in the lot. When I'm on site, I go to your salespeople. If you greet someone in the lot, introduce yourself, welcome them to the store. Ask them, are you here for a VIP appointment? If they are, you escort them in immediately to the VIP manager, and they are properly handled. Are you questioning what if the salesperson knows that they're here for an appointment, but they don't bring them into the VIP manager, they bypass the process? Thought about that? How do you handle that?
Next time.
You've dealt with it before, haven't you? Oh, yeah. Okay.
John?
So, John, how do you handle that if someone bypasses the VIP process?
Well, we don't want to interfere.
But after,
Afterward, that's, we try to discourage that. So far, it's worked out pretty well. Because sometimes if you put a swamp, it's hard to.
What's best practice to handle that?
Someone who bypasses the whole process, giving them stern talking to at the end of that visit, and let them know that if this continues on, that they will not be reaping the rewards from BDC appointments until they pick up the process. Okay? You're going to find out about that because your BDC managers engage with all those appointments. So if that appointment's marked as a cancel or a miss, they're tracking that. We're going to call them on a missed appointment. And typically they're in the showroom with your salesperson, like, no, I'm here. So then your BDC manager is going to go to your floor manager and say, how come we didn't mark this appointment as a show? They were a VIP appointment. They weren't greeted properly. You didn't even know they were here.
Do you recommend an incentive for the customer to ask for a VIP, or is it, do you have a pretty good setup to make them feel like
It's a good
they're gonna
setup.
get a pretty good benefit?
Unless you've been the customer on the other end of the phone with these scripts, as soon as you hear them in action, it just flows. It is so smooth. The transition is very nice. Okay. So we set an appointment. We go to VIP manager guideline number 8. Okay. Number 9. Very, very, very important one. What is it? Referral. Okay. Every single time on a positive phone call, we are training the reps to ask for a referral. If you're a BDC manager and you take a confirmation TL on an appointment and you know that rep didn't ask for a referral, it's your duty to ask for the referral and show them how it's done, okay? But what's a positive phone call? I said we ask for a referral on every positive phone call. What is that? Does it result in an appointment and I ask for a referral? No, it doesn't have to have an appointment. Remember, that customer has an easy job. They can listen or they can just simply hang up the phone call. But if you get into script, even if they don't set an appointment and you still have a nice conversation with them, we ask for referral twice. Okay? Who knows the verbiage for referral? Anyone? You don't know yet. You don't learn it. Okay? Before you go, may I ask you for a small favor? Here at Blaine, I pride myself in getting most of my business from repeats and referrals from people like you. Tell me, who do you know besides yourself? Friend, neighbor, possibly coworker? Someone that one of these days might be in the market for a newer freedom vehicle. A lot of times we get a referral off that. What was that?
Repeat.
Okay. A lot of times the customer gives us feedback on that. But what if they say, you know what, Colin, that was supposed to be an easy question. That just went way over my head. I have no idea what you just asked me. That can be a tough question. Let me ask you an easier one. Out of all the people you do know, who will most likely be in the market next? In my personal experience, that's typically when we get the best responses with a referral, is when we ask the second time, okay? Just think about it. I ask you before you go, I ask you a small favor. You as a customer, what are you immediately thinking? Great, what do I have to do to help you out, to make your life a little easier, okay? So the defense wall kind of goes up. However, when we ask, you know what, that was a tough question, the customer said, good, because I wasn't really paying attention, or I couldn't think of one. Let me ask you an easier one. Human instinct. I'm going to ask you an easier question. Do you typically want to respond with easy questions? Someone states this is an easier question. So sometimes it just rolls off their tongue. Oh, your sister, great. What makes you think of your sister? Okay. So if you're a manager in the BDC, make sure your reps are asking for a referral. It's imperative. That's how we develop the business for the dealership. That's how you bring growth and importance to that department, okay? Just because we ask does not mean we're going to get it, but remember, a minimum of 18 contacts per day on a 6-hour shift. So in reality, we're asking for a referral 36 times on 18 phone calls because we asked for a referral twice.
The average is for consistently asking for a referral every time we get.
Hence the 11 basic guidelines. If we didn't have guidelines, a lot of our competition doesn't have a flow. So every script you go to is a bit different. It doesn't follow the same flow. Now imagine you're working internet 1 minute, then you take an inbound phone call. You end that call, you go to a pass lead, a buyback, service to sales. You're going to be consistent and fluid because all those scripts follow the same flow. The only thing that changes is the reason for the phone call. But then we still go into fact finding, and then we feed off of the customer's response to our question where we go next with the script.
What's the average success rate of getting a referral?
Well, remember, 6-hour shift, 102 dials, 18 contacts, 6 appointments, 2 referrals per shift. It used to be 1, but we're bumping it up. We want 2 referrals per rep per shift, okay? Heck, if we don't have an appointment, but I household prospect you, and you give me a name of someone in the household, that's in a way getting a referral too. Because you're going to use that referral script to call that customer, okay? So, number 9, extremely important, okay? Number 10, like I mentioned, we don't use every guideline. It all depends on how the conversation goes. So we use guideline number 10 when we set an appointment. What is number 10? Confirmation. Remember, you are scheduled to meet with my VIP manager today at 3 o'clock. If anything changes, feel free to give me a call. Have a great day. So it's a very simple confirmation. How many times, if we set an appointment in a script, do we confirm an appointment? You ever think about that? So I have a time today at 3 or 3:30. What works best for you? Oh, 3:30. We set the appointment. We basically set an appointment, right? We go to VIP manager. Do you have a pen handy? We confirm the appointment again. That's 2. We go to the confirmation. 3rd. 4th time we confirm an appointment. Extremely important step. That is the manager TO. You'll see a direct correlation between set appointments that miss to appointments that show with how strong the TO is. Are all of you taking TOs on set appointments right now? I know Bob Bell's definitely doing it. I was talking to their manager yesterday, and she dropped her phone talking to me to go TO phone call. So it's imperative that you TO every phone call, every single time. Why? Remember, I'm the rep on the phone. I have an appointment with Tim. But Tim, you're scheduled to meet with my VIP manager today at 3:30. If anything changes, feel free to give me a call. Oh wait, Tim, my manager just walked in. We'd like to say hello. I passed the line to my manager. He's confirming that appointment with you. Sometimes that manager's voice on the phone, the customer, is a little more open. Maybe they're going to say, you know what, I'm really thinking about it. I'm still shopping. I don't know if I'm going to make that appointment. It gives the manager the opportunity to work that customer and try to set in stone. You need to come in and work with us it will benefit you, okay? So every set appointment, I want to manage your TO every single time, okay? It will increase your show ratio, definitely. Any questions on the 11 basic guidelines? It's in your handouts you will be getting, they're in there. Your reps have them in the training book. I train people when I train in my script. Some of the scripts have the guidelines like the USST contacting past leads on page 20B. If a rep struggles with the guidelines, they're not going to be successful. Because if I'm the rep customer and I start asking you questions, you're going to lose track of where you are in the script. Knowing them mentally where you're supposed to be, it's easier to get back on track. Okay? So no questions with guidelines. We're going to move on to some fun stuff. Power phrases. Who's very good at power phrases in here? We have like over 52, I think. I'm not going to talk about every single one specifically. Okay. I talk about them when I do a fresh start. Definitely talk about every single one. But do I expect a rep to memorize all 50 plus power phrases the first week? Not at all. We're going to go through them. We're going to discuss them, what they mean, when to use them. Because you can only be confident in something when you understand the meaning of it and when to use it properly, okay? So we will go through all the power phrases in the training. I'll say, you know what, at the end of the day, as a team, when we role play in script, let's pick 5 or 6 of these power phrases, let's highlight them, and let's utilize those power phrases to start. Every couple days or weeks, pick up an additional 1 or 2 power phrases and get very strong with them, okay? It's your ace in your sleeve. The more power phrases you have that you know how to use properly, the more successful you're going to be on the phone, okay? This is what's important with power phrases. This is what we use to stop directly answering the customer's questions on tow ratio, what else? All-wheel, four-wheel drive packages, different lines or different features in the vehicle, okay? Because if a customer asks me, Colin, how many miles are on that vehicle? Do I want to go to the website to find out how many miles are on that vehicle? Not at all. I go to my power phrase. Well, you know what? You're looking at a 2012. We stock our vehicles with average miles. Average is approximately 12 to 15,000 miles per year. So I, in a way, answered your question. You're sitting there when I give you that power phrase, taking your shoes and socks off, counting on your toes and feet. How many years that is? 12, 24, 30? Okay, it's going to be, 30 to 45,000 miles, whatever it may be. I'm going to come right back at you. What mileage restrictions have you placed upon yourself for this next vehicle purchase? So I answer your question, and I go right back at it with a question to you. Hence, I'm maintaining control of that conversation, okay? So power phrases are what we use to build confidence in the rep and to give them power in the conversation. That's what we go to overcome questions on the phone or objections, okay? I don't know if they discussed it yesterday, the rules in the BDC. The rules in the BDC are, we do not directly answer the customer's question immediately. We continue on with the script. When they ask that same question again, we go to a power phrase. Give them a power phrase, continue on with the script, okay? Typically in any conversation, we will use no more than 3 power phrases, okay? I can sit there and I can talk 9 on the phone and go through 15 power phrases to try to get her in the door, but I'm gonna close her off pretty quick, okay? So knowledge on when to use them and how to use them is very important, okay? What's your favorite power phrase in here? Who's using them right now? Do you have some favorite ones?
I like the rebates and incentives one, the first one.
Number 1, that's a power phrase I train new reps on immediately, because a lot of our scripts will say, go to power phrase 1 and no retreat.
Not all the time.
Yeah, well, it's really too bad you're not in the market right now. Customers thinking, well, why? Well, you know what? Rebates are an all-time high. Interest rates are an all-time low. I've seen as low as 0%. You know what? Your vehicle will never be worth more than it is right now. Sounds like it would be a good idea to come in and take advantage of this. I have a 4:15 appointment available today. What time works best for you? We continue on with the script. Who has never worked in a call center before or who have worked on a phone? Let me ask you a question. Who controls the conversation? The person who asks questions or answers the questions? Exactly. So we're not going to be successful if we start answering every question under the sun. Okay. What if a customer has a lot of questions on a vehicle? You know, I'm calling them the 2015 Grand Cherokee. I need to know all these specific features. Is this available? I'm on the website. I don't know if it has this option. Do we want the BDC reps or the BDC manager to go track down that information? No. Why? Because the more information we give on the vehicle, they can simply go to the manufacturer's website and find out. But we're not giving them a reason to come in and take a test drive. Have you ever sold a vehicle to someone who's never driven the vehicle before? It happens, but rarely, right? We want them to come in, meet with our VIP manager, our excellent sales staff, and get them in that test drive. Create the excitement, have them drive it, how they turn, accelerate, hit the brakes really hard. That's how they get excited. They know they want that vehicle. Well, what do you say if a customer keeps asking you, you know what are those features? I'm not coming in unless I have those features. How do we change directions with that? Using power phrases.
What I like to tell all my customers with a lot of questions to come in and sit down and meet with the VIP manager to answer any questions you may have.
You've been reading the newer power phrases we handed out.
Yes.
So before I go to that power phrase, I'll simply ask you, well, you know what, when was the last time you had the opportunity to drive that vehicle? You never have. You've only driven in 2012, never in 2015. Well, you know what? This is what I tell all my customers that have lots of questions. How soon can you come in and meet my VIP manager? They, along with the sales staff, would be happy to answer any questions for you. Not only that, you'd be able to take a test drive. And during the test drive, is a great opportunity to ask more product questions. Now, I still have that 4 or 4:30. What time works best for you? So we're stressing to the customer, you know what, you've never been in the new model. Technology, interiors change, engine packages change. We're stressing you, you know what, you need to come in and experience this vehicle. You have a question?
Yeah, what Colin is talking about is the difference between how a salesperson would handle a call and how a BDC rep would handle a call. A rep is going to try to set an appointment with utilizing the type of verbiage that he uses because he's not really answering the question. He's telling them, if you come in, you can have all your questions answered. Salesperson's going to answer all the questions. Thus, you know, the reason to come in is taken away. So that's a very good point. It's a very good point. And that particular power phrase is very strong. Should be utilized every single time a customer asks you a bunch of questions. One of the points is, if you have an objection that comes up every single time and you don't address it, you will never be able to handle it. If you address it whenever it comes up, whether it works or not, you will have something to say, and that builds confidence.
Perfect. What other power phrases do you really like to use right now? Those of you that are utilizing scripts.
Independent buyer.
That's a go-to one.
I love that one.
Okay. In the rules of the BDC, you can look in your books, I believe they're in there. It says, don't answer the question directly, they ask it again, use a power phrase. Give 2 power phrases and go to power phrase number 10. I'm very ADHD. What is power phrase number 10? I have a little saying, when in doubt, throw 10 out. Number 10 segues to the independent buyer. Well, you know what? Due to our big sale, we're currently in need of quality pre-owned vehicles like yours, John. John, when was the last time you had an opportunity to appraise your vehicle?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Well, let me ask you, do you know who an independent buyer is?
Yes.
You do? Well, as you know, an independent buyer is someone who comes to Lynn Smith. They evaluate trades, and they can sometimes offer more money than the standard dealership appraisal. Now, John, for your benefit, they work by appointment only. There's absolutely no fee. How soon can you come in for this evaluation? Either 3 or 3:15, what time works best for you? Okay. So one of the best power phrases to go to, like you said, independent buyer. Why? Let's say we're working a past lead, someone who we worked with over 120 days ago. We contact them, find out they're no longer in the market. Well, remember, we're calling them to get them in the door to buy from us. We want them to buy a unit from us. But when we throw out the independent buyer, how are we changing direction? We're no longer calling them to have them come in to buy from us. We're calling them so they can come in, so we can buy something from them and give them money. Okay? So whenever they start talking price, availability, things like that, and your reps are just frozen, they can segue to the appraisal. Well, tell me, what are you currently driving? When was the last time Lynn Smith had the ability to price that vehicle? Go to Power Phrase 10 and segue into the independent buyer, okay? So these power phrases, they're like what their title, they give the reps power on the phone. Now, I've been to a store when we did a startup, they're like, oh, we can't do the startup right away because all the people that are hired for training have to go through Ford training first. I'm like, what? I call up the GM. He's like, yeah, we have to, it's a 2-week process. We're going to bring in the reps. We're going to send them to the Ford training for 2 weeks, so more expense. And then with that, they can come back and train with you. I'm like, that's not going to work, Tim. Sorry. Let's put a hold on that. You're wasting your money. One, I don't want the reps trained up in products like that. I want to know the basics. What line is a minivan? What are your mid-size sedans, mid-size SUVs? What trucks do you have? What's an extended cab? What's a crew cab? Just the basics. Because if we send our reps to the product training, what are they then? They're salesmen on the phone. They're going to start to answer every question under the sun, like our salespeople would do. We don't want that. Okay? So with these power phrases, they give them power. It gives them more questions to ask the customer. But if you look at the second page, page 15 of the power phrases, those of you who have them, when we train you, we go through them, we highlight them, but we label them specific things. The second page, I'd say more than half of those power phrases are labeled create flexibility and fact find. Because we're not just customer care, we're not just appointment setters. We're appointment setters that want to find out how flexible the customer is, and we want to find out as many facts as possible for that appointment, so that salesperson who takes that appointment is ready to go, and we can increase the sold percentage for those units. Okay. Let's talk about some more power phrases. Do you have some favorite power phrases? Looking them over.
Yeah, I use number 1, because we're using EV and ETE.
Okay.
Is,
Exclusive trade-in event.
So what we're using is 1, 10, 21, because they'll be like largest thing. Some of them just go back to our internet.
And 21 says, my knowledge that the vehicle is still available. With our big sale, inventory is moving as we speak. Tell me, besides blank, what else we consider?
Those are it about it. And they don't jump us around anywhere because tell them about this and then fire free right away. So they're more interested in bringing in their car to sell it.
Exactly.
And they don't ask us if they can bring 2 of them at a time, but they do bring them.
Exactly. I have a good story to that. I think I'll segue with the story. But with that, these power phrases, imagine if you didn't have power phrases and I'm the customer on the phone, I get you off track and I start asking you what's the mileage? What colors do you have available? There's going to be a pause there with your rep. That pause there, the customer's thinking, do they really know what they're talking about? They're even going to say, I want to speak to a salesperson. So these power phrases, if they know where to go. Remember, we role play with these scripts. We kind of talk about as a group in training, different things that will arise. These power phrases, there will be no pause. They will jump to the power phrase, give a generic answer, ask a question, and then get right back on script. So there's no delay, no pause for that customer to interject and start taking control of the conversation. Okay? So those are some good power phrases. One thing I recommend, one of my stores does it, the manager's really big on it. Every day when we get the Go Green numbers hourly, they have a big Go Green board, probably the size of this area right here. Every morning she picks a power phrase out, writes it on the Go Green board. So then every hour she goes around the room, John, Paul, give me your numbers. Before they give the numbers, they have to get up in front of the team, read the power phrase off, and then give the numbers. So it goes around the room.
Well, I do 1 through 5 every day. We do different power phrases and they get on our
Right.
30-minute, before we get the day started, confirm appointment.
You talk about power phrases.
Yeah.
So do it with the Go Green board. So imagine that, 6-hour shift, you collect numbers 6 different times. Each rep will be repeating that power phrase 6 times in a day. Don't just have them repeat it. If they question it, I ran into a rep once who didn't know what equity was. Oh boy. So we went to a power phrase about equity, and they don't understand equity. How are they going to be confident when they say that power phrase? They're not. So sometimes you need to re-educate your reps on what it means. Little story, I had a store in Tennessee, very religious area, Lincoln County, right? One of the power phrases says, big inventory reduction sale. She was very religious. She pulled me aside after training. She's like, I can't do this, Colin. I can't lie to customers. I'm like, what do you mean? You're not lying to customers at all. Give me an example. She said, a big inventory reduction sale. I can't lie to the customer. I'm like, all right, you have a misunderstanding here. I said, outside with a big inventory. She's like, yeah, we have over 250 vehicles. All right, bingo, big inventory. What's the point of a business every day at dealership? Reduce inventory size, right? Just because that vehicle says it's $29,995, do your customers come in and say, you know what, Tim, here's $29,995, I want that vehicle? No, they try to negotiate with you. She's like, oh, so it means you want to reduce our inventory and you'll make it on sale to earn their business. I'm like, basically, yeah, that's what it means. Big inventory reduction sale. That's why a lot of our power phrases talk about saving money, promotional, incentives, rebates, or sale, okay? Because once you say sale, customers thinking, oh, I'm on your website, that doesn't say anything about a sale. You just piqued their interest. Now they're really listening to what you're saying, okay? Let's keep going. I'm not gonna talk about all these power phrases. But what's another one? I have a favorite one. You ever run across a customer, you've gone at them 3, 4 different times to set an appointment? They're like, Colin, I'm too busy, I'm a lawyer, I can't come in. I'll just stop in on Saturday. Well, we have a way to overcome that. How do we do that? It's not one of the power phrases, it's one of the ways to overcome objections.
Waiting for your tracks up like Monday.
Well, no, I don't want to set an appointment Saturday. I'm just to stop in, I got my kids' t-ball, I got to meet with a client. Well, we work primarily by appointments only, not for our benefits or for yours. With a big sale and promotion going on, I would much rather have my manager waiting for you than you to arrive at the store waiting for her. Now, how soon can you come in? I have that appointment available Saturday at 9 or 9:45. What works best for you? I'll show you. It's on a different page. Okay.
Oh, it's not
Or-
a power phrase.
Yes, but with this, I'm using that as an example. But what if that doesn't hit the customer? They're too busy to come in. They're like, you know what? I understand what you're doing, but I'm just going to stop in. Well, if someone's really busy throughout the day, did you ever look at one of those power phrases that's really good? If they're busy throughout the day, when's the best time to come to a dealership? Early morning. Bingo. Power phrase number 5, right? So even if a customer says, you know what, Colin, I'm going to come in tomorrow at 9:45, I still use power phrase number 5. You know what? Lyman is a great time to come into the dealership at 9:45. More attention, less distractions. You have a pen handy? I segue into the VSG manager. But let's say the customer says, no, I'm not available all day. Well, are you available in the morning, afternoon, or evening? Oh, morning. Great. Early morning's a great time to come into the dealership. More attentions, less distractions. You're stressing them. Most people on a Saturday, they're sleeping in, they're doing yard work. Come in first thing, you'll be taken care of properly, you'll leave in your brand new vehicle between probably early morning and the rest of the afternoon and evening and enjoy yourself. Okay? So these power phrases are very important. They pique the interest of the customer. It allows the rep to maintain control of the conversation. Okay? What else? What are some other good ones? Jessica, how about you? You're up and starting BDC. Do you have a few that you like to use? That you feel confident using besides the independent buyer, things like that?
Independent buyers.
It's huge.
Because that's what most people have said, well, you're giving up the trade.
Exactly.
A lot of people want to.
A lot of BDC appointments are set with an appraisal.
And the 1469 Auto Mall is right across the street from Vegas.
You guys got dealers row. You got like 20 plus dealers on your street.
14 dealers.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, a lot of appointments are set with the appraisal process. Okay. Because remember, you're a past lead, John. You're not actively looking, but I'm going to pique your interest by asking you about your appraisal. Never had it done. I'm going to offer you a free appraisal. You're going to come into the store for that appraisal. In my notes, I'm going to put John's coming in on the independent buyer, so managers and sales know how to handle that. But what are they going to be doing with you while you're at the store? They're getting you on a test drive of the vehicle you really want to own. So that when you come back, you're all excited about that test drive, you're sitting down at the salesman's desk, manager comes out, John, we appraised your vehicle at X amount. Originally, you couldn't think about buying a new vehicle because you didn't know what you're gonna take out of pocket. But now we could actually start working numbers and figures without thinking about what you have to take out of pocket. We can just take your trade. And just taking a trade will then keep your payments where you want. If not, now we have a way to negotiate and work numbers, right? How many times you get a phone call? Well, I just want to know my out-the-door price on that vehicle. No, I don't care about anything else. I want to know what it's going to cost me. Well, great. You give them the out-the-door price. You don't know how much they have down. You don't know what they have for a trade. So that number could be kind of scary to somebody. That's why we don't like to get price over the phone. We want them in the store to negotiate price. Because there's a lot involved in it. We got to run credit so they qualify for the incentives and rebates on that vehicle. Okay. So what I want you to take from this is these reps must know these power phrases. It will ensure them a successful career in the BDC. Okay. Plus, a rep can't move to the lead rep spot or manager spot without being successful in the phones, right? I mean, look at Nye, for example, not to pick on you, Nye. She's stellar on the phones. When she handles an inbound or outbound phone call, she's fluid. She goes to power phrases, okay? Her numbers are excellent. She's a great tutor for everyone else in the room, okay? Her reps are doing very well picking up new power phrases. So I'm going to encourage you, if you've been using the same basic ones for the past months, leave this workshop, go there, back to your store, and pick up some new ones as a team. Start using new power phrases because it gets very old. Calling the same customers every 60 to 90 days using the same power phrases. You're going to lose the effect. Okay? How about you, Craig? Do you have any favorite power phrases you like to train?
Oh my goodness. I train them all,
I
definitely.
do too.
I train them all. But one of the ones that are on the last page of power phrases has to do exclusively with pricing. And 50, 51, 52, whatever. Those are ones that you really should you should study, should make sure, because here's what happens a lot of times. We like to TO. We like for our people to TO. However, as I stated before, if they do not attempt to handle that objection, they will never. So they have to start using these power phrases. There's another set that we came up with. They're called Joni's liner notes, really, or something like that. And they deal exclusively with the price information. So we'll need to get those to everybody who had.
And she also has another special set for Christmas time. Always a difficult time during Christmas getting people in to buy a car. She's got some power phrases titled "Competing with Santa Claus."
Right.
They're really good. Okay. So when it comes to that time, your account manager will get you those power phrases too.
Right.
But the newer power phrases, it kind of takes some of the old ones and mend them,
Exactly.
blend them, kind of take out some words, but some of them are extremely, extremely effective. So I want you to remember, I don't want your reps to memorize every single one right away. It's overwhelming on top of the 10 and 15 scripts we have. Pick 4, 5, or 6, and slowly pick up some new ones, okay? I think that's about it, Trevor.
All right, thanks. Thanks a lot. Let's give Colin a hand. I'm proud of this guy because he's really come a long way. He's thorough with what he does, so this is very important. What he talks about is what I kind of stress. I stress effective communication, so that's what he's talking about. Your reps have to be effective when they're talking to customers. Thus, you have power phrases in front of you, you have scripts in front of you. That means, what do you think that means, John? Does it mean you use them or not use them? You need to use them, and as managers, you really need to make sure that when you hear a rep, because all managers should be kind of like us. There could be, every one of you could be on the phone, but as a manager, I need to be able to tune in to each conversation, because I'm like, for some of us older people, there was a show called Hogan's Heroes. If you remember that. So there was a character that used to walk up and down all the time. So that's kind of what a manager has to do. They have to move around and listen to their reps, because if they're not on script, here's what I do as a manager. I just come up and do this. that means get back on it and start to be effective when you communicate. The more effective you are, the more appointments you're going to set. So I had a young lady that was going to be able to get online, but because her group is growing so much, she doesn't have a computer to be able to do that. So we'll just go this way. All right. Find what I'm looking for. Somewhere to put it.
I have a question.
Shoot.
On your Spanish group,
Yes.
because we have lost,
Spanish contingency.
yeah, and I do have to say, it's great for Spanish, had to be like a little bit better.
And you know what? Here's what I can say about that. You as a Spanish person, the person Elba that was back there, Puerto Rico, anywhere we go, every Spanish person says that because the different dialects are different. So it's almost impossible for us to put something in that book and have you like it, or have Elba like it, or have someone in Puerto Rico like it. So if you need to edit it, do so.
Okay.
Because as far as something like this, it's uniform. But as I said, if you're from Bolivia, like Elba is, there's no way that we can make that uniform. So you'll have to be able to edit that down. Okay, any other questions before we move on? I'm trying to find something here real quick. I do not see it here. So I'll find it here for me. ROI. How do you determine the return on investment for your representatives? How do you think you do that? How do you determine the return on investment for your representatives, for your BDC reps? What do you look for?
Yes, me.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm looking for results, and I'm looking for that, that's self-generated.
Self-generated.
That's probably.
All right. So let's talk about that because that's very important. Self-generated. What does that mean? Well, that means that the BDC rep is going out, digging into your database, looking at your service customers, following up on past leads 90 days and older, exclusive buybacks, exclusive trade-ins, service to sales, orphan owners, galley lists, which comes from the manufacturer, taking those and turning them into an appointment, and also turning them into possibly a referral, right? Okay. So ROI, we have a number up there, right? Each manager has a number that's that their BDC represents, and that's salary, commissions, things of that nature, right? All right, so I'm going to show you, once I find it, I'm going to show you a spreadsheet that breaks down the actual ROI for each representative. If the information, we can get the information, meaning if we can get front, back, those types of things, goes into the sheet, and then it calculates that. Does it cost you anything if your BDC is running efficiently and self-generated? Does it? Does it? Does it cost you anything? Owners, Tim, are you an owner?
No.
Okay. Are you GM? GM. When you look at your BDC, do you look at it as a cost center?
There's an expense to it, but if
Is there an expense to it?
there's an expense, but if the profits exceed the expense,
That's what we're talking about. So here's what I like to get people to understand, because you have to have a certain mentality when you're looking at this. It's very important. This particular one I'm going to show you, it doesn't cost that owner a penny. It doesn't cost them a penny because they are constantly producing referrals, exclusive buybacks, trade-ins, service to sales. So they're generating $70, $80, $90, $100,000 in in their numbers, which means that they're not really paying for this at all. And that's what each BDC should be trying to get to. Your people cannot only be doing phone-ups. They can't be doing USSTs exclusively. They can't be exclusively doing internet. You know, if you have a person who's selling 14, 15, 20 cars and they don't have a third, we keep preaching this, they don't have a third of these units as self-generated, then they're, you know, they're taking, as I say, the low-hanging fruit, right? Low-hanging fruit, yeah. And they're not necessarily easy, they're not. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the dealer is using their advertising dollars to get these people to either call in, walk into the dealership. So we have to make sure that people are doing what they're supposed to. It's up to the BDC manager to generate campaigns that push them that way. Everyone should have at least 25 to 30 of those types of calls in their queue on a daily basis to be able to generate those numbers.
On their pay plan, I'm confused because for the $100, I think it says self-generated, but for the bonus, is it self-generated referrals or self-generated
Self-generated units. Self-generated units.
for a $100 bonus?
Here's what it is. One to 10, that's $75. 11 plus, $100. What's a self-generated type of sale? Give me one. Orphan owner. Another one. Self-generated. Service to sales. Can you give me one? Self-generated. Okay, service. Trade-in event. Incidental contact. Are you new? How new?
I'm a rep.
If you're new, that means that you should be doing a lot of those. That's what you should be doing, because she shouldn't be on phone-ups, right? She shouldn't be on internet. She shouldn't be on USSTs, because you have to work your way up. So when you start off, you should have lots of self-generated type opportunities. Does that make sense? You're not going to have your best, your green peas. Everyone understand what a green pea is? That's a term that they use in the auto industry as a fresh salesperson. Now, they can be a green pea for after a month and they're a veteran, right? They're like a 10-year veteran. But you're not going to have your green peas taking your best leads, because they need to work through the process. They need to work through the process. So if you're starting out, then you're going to be working through the process, and that process means you're dialing past leads, you're dialing orphan owners, you're doing service to sales, you're asking for referrals, you're doing those types of calls, right? Let me find this real quick.
Do you have a written list of self-generated leads? What's the definition of?
Have we ever written what that is? It should be.
Yeah, we work
I mean, anything over 90 days. If you get a phone up and it's 90 days old, that's self-generated. USST, 90 days self-gen. Internet, 90 days self-gen. And then anything else that you're going in your database, leasing, any of that. Because here's what you have to look at. Now, why do you have a BDC? I don't know why people have BDCs, but my philosophy behind that is, if you have a sales staff that's tasked to sell cars, then that means they're not going to be dialing 102. They had 100 dials a day, but it's really 102. They're not going to dial 102 dials a day. Do you have any salespeople that do that? No. Okay. Do you have any salespeople that are going to make 4 contacts with a customer every hour? Are they going to get 6 appointments? I feel for common people. And 1 referral a day. Are they going to do that? No. So that's what you're looking for. That's where that ROI comes in. A $10 an hour person, self-generating, bringing in grosses on referrals, which we know is a referral going to close at a higher gross, and for some of you new people here, well, I'll explain a little bit. We don't want to get into a lot of details, but I know when I show you the ROI report, it's going to have places for those, okay? But here's how it works within a card deal, so to speak. I don't like talking or want my BDC people talking like salespeople, but I'm going to give you some information on that. Front part of a deal is what we're looking at. That's the front end. And then you have the back end, which is the finance end. So when you finance a vehicle, you have all that dollars that you're making from the finance part of it. So you have these two numbers. So you take the front and the back, it goes into a system. You take the person's sales, the actual sold, you put those numbers in there. Take their hourly times their hourly times the actual number of hours they worked, and then that's where your ROI comes in. That's where that comes in. Find the report here. You can ask me questions while I'm doing this.
Can you say that over, please?
Sure. And you'll be able to see it. I just want to kind of give you an idea of what it is. But you have your front end, you have your back end. Take those numbers, that's the gross. That's what the actual car deal is. So you have a rep that makes $10 an hour times his hours plus his commission minus those grosses is the ROI for that person. Now, obviously, as an owner, you're going to take a look at advertising dollars and other things that are involved in that, but we can't look at that because we don't know those numbers. So they can amortize that over a period of time or however you want to do that. I'm just telling you that this person sold 25 cars. They had 7 or 8 of them were self-generated. You can take a look, okay, the self-generated deals, and most car deals average between the front and the back about roughly $3,000. So 3,000 times 7 is the gross that rep brought in just on those self-generated deals. So from a management standpoint, they can just look at that and say, okay, here's what they brought in. Then they can look at the other unsolds that they paid dollars to get the person come in on. They can look at the phone apps, they can look at the internet, and look at those two numbers, because they're going to always think, well, we would have gotten some of this, right? Is that what it is? We would have gotten some of those, and that's okay to think that. That's why from a company standpoint, from an owner connect standpoint, that's why Joni is adamant. That's how she built this company, on asking for referrals. It's highly important. Take one lead, turn it into another, thus your ROI goes up. Other questions? First person, the one person who asked the most interesting question wins $20. What if I said $100? We'd have all kind of questions, right? All kind of questions, all right. Well, I'm not going to give away these. All right. Let's see here. I really wanted to have this young lady on because she's a success story. And one of the things I like to, I pride myself on, because I had good mentors. Who's had good mentors coming up in life? Is it important? It's highly important. And what I pride myself on is taking someone that is a rep, moving them to a lead rep, and then all of a sudden they become a manager. The young lady that I'm going to show you her ROI report is one of those. She was at our workshop probably in December or so, and she was a waitress at Red Lobster and got an opportunity to be a BDC rep. Hadn't done any homework or anything like that, and excelled. And at one point in time, her counterpart, that was her manager, was a rep too. So she was her lead rep. And then they split the BDC, and she went over and took over the Chrysler, Jeep, and Dodge, and Honda. The other young lady stayed at Chevy. Well, the one who went over to the other one started to excel. really excel. Is anyone familiar with the Lithia Auto Group? Lithia, Texas, large group, over 150 dealers. This young lady's about 21 years old. She runs the top BDC in that 150 group dealership, and she's only been a manager for about 5 months. So that's a success story. You go from making, and this young lady was making around $55,000 to $60,000 as a rep, selling a lot of cars, a lot of self-generated. So the return on investment for this, it was San Angelo, Texas, Lithia, Chrysler, Jeep, and Dodge, Chevy. Chrysler, Jeep, and Dodge. All right. Okay, what we have here is just now. You saw some of the reports that I created yesterday, along with Joni and TJ. These reports were created to be able to, first of all, help the managers to track information, sales. This one's for sales and return on investment, and also so we could see these things. These things were in Dropbox. Everybody familiar with Dropbox? It's a cloud solution that's used to share files. So what we did is we had this in Dropbox, so we could take a look at it and look at return on investments, things like that, sources of what people were selling and things of that nature. So this was for July. This was for July return on investment, or July ROI report. Okay, so column A, customer's name. Some of these things are interchangeable: stock number, deal number, whatever. In this column, the BDC rep, or the business development representatives, they call it agent the lead date. The one thing good about this, the lead date, you could have things from 2 years ago. That's when the lead came in, and then you can, when the BDC contacted, and it'll show when it was sold. So what it does show is, it shows that leads that were left for dead, so to speak, are picked up by the BDC, worked, and they turn into sales. I'm not sure how many of those she has, but these two those back in. What, this area back there? Yeah, I'll get there for a second. I got to go through this, it's a long report. We'll get there. We'll get to those numbers there. I just want to go through it. So what we're doing now is we're automating this the same way that the Go Green, the appointment log, we're going to have this there too. So it'll be in a folder. We'll be able to put it in a folder, and all these reports will be available. All managers can click on these things and see exactly what's happening. I think you asked yesterday about why we have these reports. These reports are for us, so we can analyze what's going on at a dealership. We don't always have access to be able to go into CRMs and things of that nature, because obviously, there's lots of them, and there's security situations that we deal with. But these reports are for us, so we can analyze how your dealership is doing, and then we can discuss that with the owners. Lead date, first contact, sold date, new or used. I don't use used with my reps. I use pre-owned. The connotation behind used is not good. And as an industry, we need to lose that. The use needs to be pre-owned all the time. It's a much better word. It works. So you can see the dealership was Dodge, Honda. The source, and we'll get to this, we'll break some of this stuff up, but the source there, let me do this, it's probably easier for me. Let's turn around here. So that way. All right, so the source, internet, EBB, as you can see, look at that. Micro difference.
It says a little bit, 22,000.
Yeah, what do they sell for?
Right?
$2,000?
Where's that?
What kind of car was that?
Where's that?
Probably Hellcat or something.
Oh, right here.
$1,000.
Oh,
That's huge.
That's huge.
is that a good thing?
No, it's terrible.
It's It's terrible. Does everybody understand that? It's not good. Look, whether that's right or wrong, I'm gonna try to call her. Let's see. I'm gonna try to call her. And it could be. It could be. And then see, and that's the thing about these.
But if it was help, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. If that's reasonable, then that's cool. But the thing about it, do they want? We had someone talk about. I'm not going to show the term out, but they made X amount of dollars on the front end. When that happens, when it's too much, you have no chance of turning that person, selling that person another car, because they're never going to, they're always going to be upside down, so to speak.
How do you get your source to be Facebook?
How do I get my what?
Your source to be Facebook, like.
It's probably one of the reps just went online and was talking back and forth to their, their group of people.
Yeah, because it looks like there's a couple people that have Facebook.
You send lots of things out on Facebook.
Yeah.
To try to generate calls and sometimes we call on Facebook.
You have to understand this particular
Well,
group,
for the dealership.
this is one of the top BDCs in the country. And they hustle. They hustle. And from a manager standpoint, if you're on the phone and you're talking to someone, I don't care if there's any chance, she's going to TO your call. And I'm not talking about TOing at the end of an opportunity. I'm talking about TOing every single call she can get her hands on. That's how you end up being the top rep in the country. That's strong. It's from a female standpoint, if you're a female BDC manager, you don't have any better mentor than Joni. And Joni is this young lady's mentor. She's trying to be like her. Yeah, well, you'll see. I mean, all females BDC managers. Elba was one of her trainers. I trained Elba, but Elba, anytime you get an opportunity to work with her, understand what she's talking about. As one of the top consultants in the world at doing this, she's going to help you. And again, mentoring, looking to see that person get to the next level, which is important to us. All right, let's move over here a little bit, and then we'll break down these numbers a little bit. Okay. All right, so you have the source there, the commission. Some of the, here's what happens, okay. So the straight commissions for unsold phone ups, internet, from our standpoint, is $25, okay? That's what it is. Self-generated, we said $75, and then for 11 and up, it's $100. Now, that's what we suggest. Some of these others are probably, they'll pay a little more. The owner, because he's now the #1 Lithia dealer in a 150 group dealership, obviously, he can pay them what he wants to, right? Because they're doing very, very well. So these numbers are where they are right here. So the commissions, the front gross. John, you want to explain what the front gross is here? Where it comes from?
Front is just pure front-end gross profit from the, and I don't know if they set up the tax.
Yeah, we don't want to get into that, but yeah. So those are numbers. It's just for the number that they make on the front end of that. Okay, so you're going to see things. You'll see minuses here. You'll see minuses here.
It's like the 22,135 business type. Yeah, sale prices.
Yeah.
22,135.
Yeah. So that might be a typo. So, but here's one of the things, we can take a look at this and we can question these things. That's the thing about it. We're not going to go into the CRM and do that. We're going to look at the reports that are required by us. And as the Go Green, if I'm not seeing TOs, I can, like I did with about a month ago or so, I called her boss up and said, hey, what's happening? You're not taking TOs. I know she does. So what's happening is they weren't marking it down. It's important. So I just text her. I said, what's going on there today? So that's how we can keep track. We can't always be there. The manager is there to manage. When we're there, we are going to facilitate and help you get better. But your manager's there every day. They're responsible for a lot of these things right there. It's up to them to make sure those things happen. And when they need help, we're always available.
I'm really new to the car business. I need to know what exactly does front end reserve and back end mean. I don't know what those numbers mean.
Front end gross
We don't
is just
know.
cost
I don't
of the
know.
vehicle to the selling price. So
Okay, so the
the
front
vehicle
is,
cost 12 grand and you sold it for 14.
Right.
You just made $2,000 from it.
oh,
Reserve
okay.
is how much you made at the bank. Most banks will give you like $100 flat or $200 flat for doing business with them. Sometimes
Depends
if you
on
sell it for a half a point,
Yeah.
12%, you get it from the bank, you sell it at 12 and a half, you might make
See why you don't
$235.
want to know this.
So front is the cost of the car, back is the negative, and the reserve is what you make.
No, the back is the finance department sold product.
Oh, the end with the interest.
When they finance the car, they sold product, they make profit. Reserve is a.
Because if you don't know the industry, then it's a lot of information. But what you really need to do is once you get because there's so many other things you need to know about. If we're trying to make this ROI work, you can ask your owner, okay, I need the front and the back. And you put those numbers in there so we can do the calculation.
Who's entering the data to that form?
Managers, yeah. And if it could be pulled from somewhere from the CRM and put into this, it'd be great.
So they're doing that daily?
Yes.
We're just using one figure for the total finance.
Yeah, and you can do that. And if you do, to make it simple, you can do one figure for the total front and back and just say, hey, what's the deal on this number, on this vehicle right here? And put it there. Because I mean, we don't have to have that information. We're trying to show owners return on investment on their reps. That's what this is about. Okay, that's why it's important. Sale price, back end information. All right, let's move over here real quick. Look at some numbers. All right, so here's what you got. Here's front. Okay, so self-gen, self-generated, self-generated. They're mailer probably. Service. Look at this. Now, remember the question I asked before, if it costs you any money? Tim, does this BDC cost in their dealership anything?
I can't read it, but I would say,
There's 69 self-generated units.
I'm sure it's a profit, yeah, it's a profit center.
See what I'm talking about? Why it's so important? We're not, yeah, and even if we took that 22, it wasn't the same. See if I can get this.
It's over,
Pardon me?
it's over.
Yeah. So there's lots of, and look at what we're looking at here. Get my pointer here. All right. Facebook, referral service, EDB, exclusive buyback, Facebook, EDB, referral sheet, referral sheets are from the sales people. Okay, now this is the guy, if you do not turn in your referral sheet, your commissions are in trouble. Okay, this guy's serious. I'm not telling you to do that, but I'm saying we talked about salespeople and what they do and what they don't do. If you want to be the top organization, then you need to make some choices. You're either serious about business or you're not, and you allow the salespeople to run your organization, which you cannot allow that. Just like you BDC managers, you cannot allow your reps to do what they want to do. You can't. You cannot do that because they can cost you your position, believe me, and you don't want that. Keep going. Referral, passively. So see the trend? Was that 22,000 in there? It was. There it is. Let's do this real quick. Okay.
We went into that, and dealer trade things in the way that cost.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Do I need to say anything? Let's take the 22 G's out, okay? Let's take the 22 grand out. 138, take the 22 G's out, okay? 65,000. We're serious about what we do. And you, as owners, as GMs, as BDC managers and reps have to understand. This is serious business. We're responsible for all of the lead sources coming into one central location and making sure that we provide opportunities to the sales staff, quality opportunities. So you're talking about things. Joni had mentioned things about that. If information's not in the system, it's not up to us. We're going to call. If a person's upside down, $10,000 means he owes more than the vehicle's worth, and it's not in there, we are going to call them. We're not going to waste our time calling a salesperson because that information should be in the system. Efficient. If you have to dial 17 dials, 4 contacts, 3 or 4 contacts, 1 appointment an hour, and 1 referral throughout that day, do you have time to chase down a salesperson to find out what happened on an unsold opportunity? Do you? No. I'm not even gonna look at this number. These are the numbers that count. Okay. BDC managers, raise your hand. How new are you?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. How new are you?
We don't have
You don't have BDC. Just under 3 weeks. What's happening? Are we calling? If you're starting, you're probably not taking the tough leads right now, right? You're not. So everything you're doing is probably related to this column right here, right?
I've already sold.
What?
I've already sold.
You already sold units? Okay. Are they making money?
Yes, sir.
Yes, they are. Okay, because that's good. That's good. Fort Wayne, Indiana. Well, Daniels, how many months? 2 months, 3 months? How long have you been? Yes, 2 months. How is this area working? Right here. I can't hear you.
We are not calling.
Or you're not, well, you're asking for, no, that the other referral sheet was from a salesperson, but these are referrals from the sales, the reps. So are you asking for referrals?
Not on every call.
Okay, so
We're getting better.
you're getting better. And we understand that, right? As a BDC manager, do you have to be firm?
Yes.
You have to be firm. So if they're not doing that, then we need to find out why. Every single time, like, oh, I forgot. No, you can only forget so many times before it becomes a pattern, okay? So to be able, and we use this group, we've been using them for years now because they're the best.
It looks like half of there is our referrals.
Yes.
That's just working the
How,
process.
let me ask this question, okay, because the math doesn't compute. 10 hours a day, or 6 hours a day, what, 30 hours in a week, right? 30 hours a week, 120 hours a month, right? How do you make $50,000 to $60,000 only working 30 hours a week?
If I act for
Yeah, by asking referrals, digging into your database, because look, if you look at it, you saw that the others, the USST, the phone ups, and those types of things, that's the majority of them. But Joni said a third. This is more than a third, I think. I think this is more than a third. Who else? You guys are from where?
Right.
Ryan Keith. And you guys have been doing it for a while. What's going on? And you've gone through some management changes. So what's happening with your organization?
Self-gen is getting better.
Self-gen's getting better?
Yeah.
Do you understand why it needs to be stressed? And when an owner comes to you and says this, do you think an owner ever comes to her and says anything?
Great job.
I'm gonna try to get her on the phone so you guys can, I think she's 21. 21 years old, went from making 55 to trending to 90, almost $100,000 her first year in the industry. Some salespeople don't make that. Arlington Heights Sport. I started at BDC years ago. So what's going on with you guys? Yeah, about 3 years ago. What's going on with you guys?
We still do referrals every day, exclusive feedback. We do a lot of content.
What's the percentage of self-generated to your regular unsold internet and phone ups? Is it a
It's
third?
not, it's not.
It's not a
strong.
third? It's not a third. Okay. Tim, are you working with us right now?
We haven't established
We
one.
haven't established that. I'm sure you have your opinion. You had a chance to talk to Joni, right?
Mhm.
Okay. I know you're together with her.
I'm new,
You're new.
about almost 2 months.
2 months? Okay.
And I didn't know that these were considered self-generated at all. So now I'm like, wait, I missed a whole buck in July because I'm thinking self-generated is only referrals.
No.
So I need to go back and look and see
You need to go back and look and see what
and
you've done.
then figure out.
That's why these reports are important. How about you guys? I mean, I was kind of there from the first with you guys too. And your dealership has really risen. What's the percentage of self-generated, do you think, to just the other standard types of leads? What do you think it is?
1/3 when we're working on it.
Right.
Because they're definitely calling and asking.
Right.
I guess we're trying to work on actually, the
Right.
buying process,
Right.
getting them delivered.
Right. Okay. Your manager was a rep, right?
Yeah.
Your manager was a rep, and now they're managers. Additionally, was a rep. Now she's a manager. So I had an owner or a GM in Fort Lauderdale said that he wanted his manager to have car experience because he's going to be running an internet department. Does working for Red Lobster give you car experience? So is it necessary? The first gentleman, I don't know who he was, he ran a little long. but I'm going to wrap up here pretty soon because we're really talking about philosophy now. And then there's a couple more tabs I want to show, but what I wanted to talk to, would you do me a favor? Would you do this here? Try to call Shrina, okay? Try to call her. Shrina's. Okay, yeah, try to call her so I can tell him. All right, and then Chad's gonna get up and do some internet. All right, question real quick.
A great salesman doesn't make a great manager. But
Oh, tell me about it.
what does these people that are good reps, when they gravitate to managers,
Right. Good question.
what characteristics are you
That's a
looking
good
for?
question. Let me answer it this way. You need a mentor. That's why I mentioned that earlier. These managers, these reps were not necessarily good managers because, again, they were good phone people. So it's up to us to mentor them, to help them. From the sales standpoint, like I'm from the corporate world. So when you become a manager, they send you to school and you go through processes. Well, we know that this industry is not like that. So it's up to a company like ours to go through and train these people and make sure that they understand. They know how to answer the phone. They know how to do TOs and things of that nature. They just have to know how to motivate and manage their people and handle these types of
Are
responsibilities.
most of the promotions a collaborative effort between the companies, or the solely in-house, by the dealership
They're collaborative.
as a trend?
Yeah, but I mean, who's going to know? Who's going to know when we're there? Who's going to know how well a person's doing when we're looking at them in action? Because the owners aren't in there looking at them. We're going to
We're
know.
looking at that.
They're looking at
How
that.
often does Honor Connect communicate with the BDCs?
Well, at first, almost every day. But here's the thing about it. Look, we have lots of accounts. BDC manager has one. You have all kinds of people you can contact. You can contact me. You can contact Jody, Chad. You can contact anyone. So it's up to you to also contact us. We're on the road. We're flying around. We're going to be there every month, and we're going to be looking at this. But if you want to talk to us, I mean, we're going to try. Yes, she's in the middle of something. Okay, no problem. Tell her we'll catch her next time. If you want to talk to us, you need to communicate with us.
So there's not like a set communicative schedule. It's a
There can't be. I mean,
BDC's got to reach out to you guys in order to communicate with them.
that's what. No, we're gonna communicate with them when we can. So I might call a couple times a week, text, hey, how's it going? What's going on? I'm looking at your reports. you know, and then if I see something that I really need to deal with, then we're going to call them. But again, if someone wanted to talk to me, they can text me, but, you know, I'm always in accounts. So it's kind of hard to come up with, well, I'm gonna call you Tuesday at 10:15 if I'm on a plane. So again, managers, you need to call whoever, the last person who came into your account, you need to call that person, you need to talk to them, right? Any questions on anything like this? Questions? Okay, I'll quickly move through the next tab because Chad's trying to get in here. But I don't think we're going to take too much of a break here because our first week. And again, I'm showing you this because it's going to be revised, and that appointment log, some of that information we might kind of automate to try to port over to this once it becomes a sale. I mean, it's a lot of things we're working on for this. Okay, so that's the data entry. This right here shows the different source breakdown, internet referral, USSD phone up, so we can get a quick look at that 24 EDBs, 37 USSTs, referral 22, 29 internets. Facebook breaks down, it shows the dealer. They sold 133 for Dodge and 45 for Honda. And then here's the breakdown for each individual rep. This is a historical tab that shows what's happened on a daily basis.
You know about what the average total sales are for those stores? It's sort of
700. 700. This, of course, these are those numbers that's front and back gross information. Here's the profit analysis right here.
Right.
Now, this profit analysis right here has to be, you know, the hours have to go in there and the rates. Put the hours in there, the rates in there. That's the commission for that young lady. To 2,500 for her. So those are the breakdowns of the actual numbers. So these numbers will go up and down once that information is put in there.
And who's entering the date? Manager?
Manager.
BDC manager?
BDC manager, yeah. On the appointment log, what we could do is you can put that on each person's on the browser favorite, have it open to the actual log. Each rep can put that information in, so the manager doesn't have to do that. This is more sensitive data, so we don't want any reps to do.
And so it's not connected to the CRM information.
It could be. I mean, it could be, but you know, sometimes CRMs people are kind of sensitive about some things. So we just try to do the best we can at getting this information. Okay. And sometimes she'll use that page for BDC generated, just the types of calls she'll have the actual rep and what each one of them can do. All right, so that's the ROI report. Again, it is going to be set up like the Facebook, or not Facebook, the Go Green and the appointment log. Any questions? When you go home, what are you going to do? What? Homework, but I hope you understand that your reps need to generate opportunities. So I always tell person, you need to pay for yourself on a daily basis. That means you need, I mean, depending on, you know, what they make in a month, and then the commissions, they need to generate lots more than that. Okay? All right. Check here. Cat, ready?
That's it.
That's for 5. Okay, we'll take just 5
Take a
real
break,
quick.
you guys get some coffee, caffeine,
Yeah, quick 5 because it's kind of one trying to fast it.
food, so I only like 20 minutes lunch.
Okay, we'll sit together.
Yeah, that would be good.
Just sit over here.
So,
So I'll push the button for you guys. Who else was that? You guys are back by the hotel, right?
you've gotta go back by the hotel, so, shuttles get you guys. Tim, what about? You riding with them?
Yeah, so.
You wanna just go all, what time's your flight? Um, Sure. He says he wants to go in here for a couple of hours, that's okay. Well, but I do have a few different.
They already have phone numbers where you calculate. Oh, like, you know how you put the appointment, yes, no, how much you pay a month? Yeah, that's like illegal.
Gotcha, so I just click the button, you go right to the front door.
You want to do one more? So you know the sheet that has you have your appointment, you put the name, whatever. So you can click yes, no, and then you put the right word and condition. On the side, tailors shows, it don't even tell you how much they almost be.
I had another.
Yeah. No, because at one point we were actually counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shows. But now this one was as soon as you put yes, no in it, on the side of the calculator, the other show, this show, don't take it. So it's not so. Then it put the amount of how much each thing was to calculate. So they were forms calculated. Yeah, the older one, we were just like literally, we're counting it. I kind of like it.
Good news, I usually talk too fast.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I'm so stupid.
Michael,
Yeah. Take a while.
Well, I understand when we first started. You self-generated.
so let's start first. Next layers.
Okay, what was that?
Lynn's watching today, and he emailed me, goes, oh, can you get me about it today
I'm
too?
watching on yesterday.
And it's right here. Oops, you're fine. And the universe made car sales
I'll write
people.
that one, but on your Saturday.
John, are we provided with a list of reps if our rep is not available?
You mean like with us? Oh. Our website has it, plus we'll get you, I'll make sure you have our.
A contact list in case we can't get a hold of
I
our.
thought, well, gosh, you should know who all of your reps are when you have them. I'm like, what? You're talking about us? Oh, us. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. I also, we come at the workshop, but it's like, very close to that. But it's not. Oh, yeah, it's nice.
What? Is she still on?
All right, we're ready to wrap this thing up here. All right, let's wait. Nia will be back in a second. She just-
Where is Nye? Is she in the kitchen again? Are you in the kitchen again? I'm the kitchen help.
She's just double checking your work to make sure you got all the things off the coffee cup.
Didn't even use them this morning because you had me worried about it, so I just got fresh ones out. Stains.
You want that turned around, Chad, at the podium?
Actually, I said this here. So Trina's at the school getting her son.
Yeah, she said she thought she'd be done by 10. I told her, don't worry about it.
Those things.
Yep.
Getting her school never had bad.
Harold was here yesterday. His birthday's today, so he's gone.
All right.
He's out. He left last night. All right.
All right, guys. I like to have videos. You remember when we were in school and you came into class and either the TV or for those of us that are a little older, the projector was in the room and we thought, yes, I'm still like that school kid. I always have to have movies. So, how many of you have been in the car business for more than 20 years? 10? More than 10? More than 5? The rest of them still pretty new. If you've not been in the car business for a long time, you're going to find the longer you stay in it, we're in an industry that has been ever changing. If you think back, those of us that first raised our hands, us old guys, I've been doing this 20 years now. Years ago, when I started in the car business, there was no internet. If you think back, there was no internet. You did not shop online. If you'll think back that far, we had the internet, and it was dial-up, and it was AOL. And if you wanted to see something, a picture of something, you would click that picture, and about 5 minutes later, one line at a time, you would finally see that complete picture. That is, if that picture wasn't too high quality, because if it was, it'd take you 30, 40 minutes for that picture to open. You didn't shop online. So when I started in the car business selling, I started 20 years ago, the internet had no impact on my life. I mean, it didn't impact the way that I sold cars. As time has progressed on, I mean, let's think even further back. How did we reach our customers and advertise in the beginning? It was radio. Actually, go a little further back. They had radio, and it was us. We were out beating the streets, knocking doors, doing those things. Then radio, TV. So the evolution of the car business has been really kind of cool. So I found a video. I kind of swiped it from someone else, but I loved it because it really takes you from where it all started through the introduction of the internet. Those of us that have been in the business a little while, we remember the ups and the downs and the severe downs sometimes, because we're on the up again. But so this video, for those of you that have been in the car business, which is over half the room for very long, it kind of takes you through some of the things that we experienced and that we got to live through in a very short period of time. So I'll show it. Those of us that have been in the business more than 10 years, I want you to see if you can pick when you started. Because I can remember the tempo, and you'll see it in the video. I sold them new. Mm-hmm. And then we evolved and started having the Mercury mistake and
One car awarded every day. All you have to do is put an low and low miles and wide between the wheels. A spirited, responsive road car that feels as good as it looks. A lift, America.
That's when I started.
Great.
Yep.
There's our first CRM.
The Oldsmobile 60 B44. It's handsomer, heavier, muskier. New in style, but old in quality. The new VW Fastback sedan. It seats 4 with more room for elbows and legs. It's pretty jazzy, too. This roomier, more luxurious Fairlane 500 is actually priced a whopping $142 less than last year. Let's win on a big secret. Just 1 week from tonight on this very program, we're going to show you our big new Studebaker, a Ford salesman's biggest investment. Is his time. Time's my greatest investment. Well, I hope this doesn't sound stuffy, but I try to make the most out of every minute. Sales are the most important thing in this business. And we're going to work closer together than we have in the past in order to get more sales. He worked that hard with every man he ever hired. And he was smart enough to realize that he knew more about selling cars than any man on his sales force. And that it took his direction and leadership to get the most out of his men. And I don't believe men have changed much since then. What are you doing now, Joe? Part of my advertising campaign. I put out about 10 of these cards a day on the best cars during my lunch hour. I've been meaning to ask you, Joe, about these newspaper ads you run. They really pay off, huh? Oh, sure. Being in business for myself, I've got to run personal ads. Is that another prospect? Yeah. This is a competitive one. I try to call at least 5 every day. As a salesman, I'm sure you've heard about trouble digging into all of the many features you have so that you can blend the right combination of them together into a sale. Hours of work focused right down into minutes of selling. But that's what it takes today. Listen to the 80s and the better ideas from Ford. Introducing the new Mercedes-Benz 300e. Only the top Americans give you Z-Bart factory rust protection and a full 5-year warranty. It's got everything. Air conditioning, power locks, power windows. A new size Thunderbird available with America's first fully automatic overdrive. Everything that BMW is doing today and will do in the future is directly related to our accomplishments in the past.
Plus, SHO features a dual runner tuned intake manifold.
Car and Driver magazine has called it simply America's best sedan.
Tell your prospects about Tempo's fully independent suspension.
And it's like nothing you've ever experienced. This is the new Trans Am. There's nothing in the history of the human race that compares to the impact that the internet will have. Low-cost car buying and auto Vitel. Your car's ready, and you did it all online. If there's a buzzword of the year this year, it's certainly wireless.
There are 2 newer technologies that could boost your business profile.
80% of all transactions start on search engines. Stock markets continue their terrifying plunge.
The economy is going through one of its roughest patches in years.
We are in a recession.
Yesterday, Chrysler notified nearly 800 dealerships that they will be closing their showrooms next month.
General Motors has informed more than 1,100 of its dealers that they are no longer needed.
This Dodge dealership is William Churchill's family business. Ordered shop. This family dealership has been selling Chrysler since 1933. Today, it was one of hundreds dropped by Chrysler.
It's not just about the jobs lost here at the car lot. It's about everything else the community loses along with them.
It just keeps getting a little bit worse month after month after month.
Toyota has a problem.
The biggest single recall for a car manufacturer.
The gas pedal can get tangled up in the floor mount.
Breaking news, a violent earthquake off Japan's northeast coast has rocked the nation.
The earthquake in Japan has had a profound effect on the Japanese auto industry.
An automobile has 5,000 parts in it, and many of those parts are coming from Japan.
If you don't have those chips, you can't even drive the car off the line. every industry has peaks and valleys, but man, this valley seems to be about as low as you can go.
We have new business for the city of Seaside. A new car dealership set to open soon.
Prep's now underway to reopen the Dodge Chrysler dealership, bringing some much-needed tax dollars and jobs to the area.
What does a town that's been to hell and back know about the finer things in life?
Car sales are at top speed this weekend thanks to the overwhelming success of the government's Cash for Clunkers program.
You see, it's the hottest fires that make the hardest steam. And that's who we are. That's our story.
Is a car that's about to take the concept of freedom one step further. Driverless car.
Kelly Blue Book just announced its best resale car for 2013, Chevrolet Volt.
Enter the keyless car.
We want to push the boundaries of what can be done by robots versus humans.
I love that video because it really takes you through all of it. But the exciting thing is now we're back on that upswing. We're going this direction again. But we have created a whole new auto industry. We've really leveled the playing field. The internet. I mean, you heard the snip. Over 80% of all consumers go to the internet. Go to search engines to shop for a car. How many of you are internet shoppers? Not just for cars. You know, we've gone, even since this video, another step forward. And you know, it used to be that we sat in front of the computer, we shopped on the internet. Everybody looking, or at least half of you look in your hands right now. You've got the internet at your fingertips. So we really have we've done something great and we've done something challenging in our industry, because a good portion of our industry is still ran by us old guys. So what do we do? So many dealerships they're just lost when it comes to internet. You know, there's so many different processes out there. And I'm going to tell you, obviously, our belief is that in a fully centralized communications center, it's all handled through the Business Development Center. Now, I'm proud to say that we've gotten smart. When we launch a BDC, it's like I talked about yesterday, we're going to look and see what you're currently doing with regard to internet before taking someone who's been in the car business 2 weeks and throwing them out there. But I do want to go through some best practices and some things that need to happen, whatever your process is, whether it's the BDC is your first line of response, or if you still have a true internet department that handles it separate from the BDC, or, you know, gosh, if your BDC is an internet department, we still need to think about what we're doing when we're taking these leads. I'll tell you, the answer that us old school guys have is, well, we're gonna like advertise our way through it. We're just gonna keep throwing money out there, keep getting leads, we'll sell more cars, right? Even if we're terrible, even if we don't handle the internet leads properly, and we have horrible closing ratios, even if I have a 5% or a 2% closing ratio, if I get more leads, I'll sell more cars. It's kind of, it makes some sense. So we've gone and we've tried to do things on the internet that we feel are effective, but it helps remind me to stay on track. Poster child for AED up here. I'll have a story that'll pop into my head here in a second. But why do you think consumers are online today shopping? What does it do for us as a consumer?
It's convenient.
Convenience. It does.
Gives us an idea. An idea of what we want. We can go online and look before going into the dealership.
Easy.
Price.
Our customers, our consumers are really educated now. One, we want to make sure that we feel as a consumer that we've done all the research possible to be able to effectively negotiate the best price. So we have some customers that they feel that's why I should shop online. I don't know how we've tried in this industry to get ourselves past being that item that everyone negotiates on. You know, profit is not a dirty word, but it seems to be to the consumer a dirty word in our industry. Although everyone will go to Walmart and buy a head of lettuce and never dispute the price. But they're a retail establishment like us. You should try it sometime. Hey, I'll give you 75 cents. I know it's 99, but I'll give you 75. See what happens. But in our industry, consumers still believe I've got to now research so that I know what the best price might be. So price is a reason that consumers shop online. Availability. If you're taking and responding to internet leads now, then you're getting the availability question. And I know Joni touched on this some, but is it important to tell them about that one specific vehicle? Why? What is your answer, my BDC folks? If I say, do you have that car?
To the best of my knowledge.
Vehicles available. Over 83% of the consumers buy something different anyway. I thought myself, being in the auto industry for 20 years, that I would be different as a consumer than most consumers. I travel all the time, so I shopped online so I could plan my day, my shopping day of Saturday to go out and buy a car here in the Chicago area. And you'll see some of my shopping experiences. I've gotten some emails that are quite amusing. But I set out, I found what I wanted, inquired, allowed them to call me, and you know what, just like every consumer, what did I ask? Do you have it still? Of course they did. So I set a time to come, because I told them I'm going to be very pressed for time. I thought I was being smart. Who's your sales manager? Because I'm going to go in, I don't need to have an appointment set with the VIP manager, I'm just going to go ask for the manager. So I go in, that vehicle that I found that I wanted, and I was greeted by the sales manager, and I told him the vehicle that I was looking for. Prior to my arrival that morning, I did get a confirmation call from the BDC, and I asked them again, is it still there? They said yes. So I drove you don't have to drive a long distance in this area for it to take a little while. I drove a little while, we got there, and when the manager greeted me, it was sold. And I thought, good job, good job. Because I looked at one brand, pre-owned is what I was looking at. They also sold that same brand, new. I left with a new vehicle. And I thought after I left, I am the 83%. and I felt like I would be different. So those of you that have sold cars before, think about your customers that you've had that came in for that one car. And they left with something different. Maybe slightly different, maybe totally different. When I was selling cars, I had a guy come in looking for an F-250 because he needed to pull his horse trailer, and he left in a Focus. Because that's all he could afford, and he didn't have a car. I told him, you're either going to drive the Focus or ride the horse. We got the Focus. So, horse wasn't air conditioned. It was 110 degrees in Texas last week. Just like you guys said, convenience is another reason. It is convenient, and I think that that's important in society. I don't know how we have all gotten so busy. I don't remember my parents being this busy. Now, maybe they would tell me differently, but I don't remember it being that way. Or they hate car salesmen and they're looking for a different way to do business. Because we are still not the most loved people in the world. You know, the average consumer relates the car buying experience comparable to getting a root canal. That's how well they like it. It's usually because they know that the negotiations, all of those things are going to take place. And it's funny, the people that will tell you, I hate negotiating. I want to know exactly what I need to know because I'm not going to negotiate. They'll come into the dealership and you'll say, well, the MSRP of this vehicle is $29,995. And they'll say, well, I'm not going to pay that. They start the negotiations. I mean, I love it when they say, I hate to negotiate. I'm like, oh, great, I'm full sticker on this one. Never works that way. Or they're doing research. You know, when we leveled the playing field, we've also done it with regard to product. I know that each of us in the room, if we sell different products, can tell you that one or two things that makes mine better. But the reality is, they're all kind of the same anymore. I've been out of the retail end so long that when I see cars, sometimes it's hard for me to know if it's a Chevy or if it's a Nissan. Chevy did do a great job putting that big bow tie on the front. But if I see them from the side, it's a struggle. They all kind of look the same. The Fusion, the Altima, gosh, where's the big difference? I know, look, she's like, oh, now the Nissan's different. I can see it over here. So we use the internet for research because we're also looking for that one thing, that couple of things that makes one car different, better, or cheaper maybe than the rest. So what it really boils down to on our end is how well do we respond? I've seen it all, I think, in this industry. Went into a dealership, it's been a couple of months ago, and it's not normal that I would go into a dealership and say, we're starting with the internet leads. But when I looked at their average response time of 45 days, I said, we're starting there. They just weren't really sending any, they weren't responding. Salespeople said they were calling them. And so I said, we're starting there. We can't mess that up. So we don't know what to do sometimes when we get an internet lead because we have, in our minds, we believe we know what they're looking for, what we need to, how we need to respond, but we really don't. So again, what do we do in the car business? Got us old school guys here that we know, well, you guys, they're terrible, but I'm selling a few because I'm out there on the internet. Well, let's just advertise some more out there. Let's SEO, SEM, let's market, let's put some promotions. Just give me some more leads, I'll sell some more cars. So we start marketing our way through it. Our traditional internet processes, one of the reasons they're not effective is we provide too much information. And so there's no reason to come to the store. Gosh, I'm going to tell you, I hear this sometimes with just voicemails. Salesperson will call an internet lead, and everything that customer's asked gets left in the voicemail. So what's the motivation to now communicate with the dealership? I got it all, got what I needed. Or we go to the other end of the spectrum, who are so evasive and often unfriendly that the consumer didn't want to come to the store. Because let's make sure we understand the process that we're talking about. What is the traditional internet process?
Send the first response.
What's the traditional internet? When we first hit the market, I got some leads. All right. John, here's a couple for you. Here's a couple for you. Rich, here's a couple for you. You guys let me know how that turns out. Right? It's our traditional internet process. So now I've got these salespeople calling. I know I pick on salespeople a little bit, but you know, I was a salesperson for several years. I earned the right to pick on them because I was just as bad as anyone else. I told my boss, my sales manager, I was doing my phone work and doing it well. Or we get the salesperson that's going to try to go somewhere in between all of this, and we ask so many questions that it feels more like an interrogation than an attempt to purchase. You guys know that salesperson. What's your credit score? Where'd you finance your last car? You gonna be the only person buying this car? Are you the decision maker? You gonna do it today? It's kind of like put them in this closet up here, put the bright light on them. What do? I don't know. I think we ought to probably just advertise a little more. So let me see. Some of these aren't real clear, but I had fun looking at these. The mistakes that I've seen on the internet when we market. How important are pictures of vehicles? Would you guys agree? Pictures of vehicles are important. Pictures of new and pre-owned are important. Stock photos are dirty words, but also some of these that you're about to see, I would have rather had a stock photo. Like the guy that took the picture in front of the service department, and I'm sure that that's just water, but is it leaking fluids?
Yeah.
We didn't think that one through very well. Can't really tell because it's blown up so big, but it's a body shop back there. We didn't think that one through very well, but I bet it's not got any dents or dings. I like this one. This is a different dealership sign back here. Well,
I think Chevrolet Chrysler.
Kind of butchered that one too. Can you find a mistake on this webpage? That must be a limited edition Focus or Fiesta or whatever that is. Oh, it's a Fiesta S. How many of you, does everybody know a lot of times how your prices get on the internet? Sometimes it's just that lady up there in the office keying in the inventory, and sometimes maybe they got chubby fingers, and that 11,400, I don't know, got an extra number in there. I'm sure there were tons of inquiries on this vehicle. How about that one? I mean, yeah, John, I think this one, we buy this one at your dealership, right?
We got a bunch of them.
Let me click your little button, and you'll have spun here in less than 5 minutes.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, nice to meet you.
If you will carry this out to
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Have some.
You'll take that to Katie up front. And she'll let you know when the ride's here.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. Bye.
So now this, I'm fairly certain, that since the MSRP was 71, that they got some increase on that one. Sometimes it's not the internet that we make the mistakes on. I hope this is not one of your dealerships. We're slaying the competition. Oh my gosh. All right. So no, sometimes we can't market our way through. We've got to do things right. So let's talk about the great auto response debate. Should you? Shouldn't you? How many should be automated? How many shouldn't be automated? You know, we've all thought about it. I'm gonna tell you, you must have an automated response. We're in a market today. How many of you are Amazon shoppers? How do you know that your order was complete? Just like that, right? We expect it now. We're looking for it. We want that communication. So remember, when someone's shopping online, they're expecting us to respond just like all the other methods or mediums that we use to purchase things. I want something, I want it now, I know it's done. How many of you don't use an autoresponder? How many of you have more than one? Those of you that didn't raise your hand, I'm going to tell you, you do. Because remember, there you go. Say what you're saying. Say it out loud because it's what I was about to say. You got it.
We have Auto Trader.
So Auto Trader, I go to Auto Trader and I click, I want that car. Auto Trader sends an auto response. You send an auto response. So it is necessary, but make sure that the content of your response doesn't mirror the content of the response they just received. Don't make it say the same thing. Don't make it redundant. So if you have outside lead providers, Auto Trader, Cars.com, TrueCar, you need to shop yourself. Get their auto response. See what it says so you're not sending a duplicate or the same message at the same time. I'm okay with you having that second auto response, but make it mean something. So as we're talking about emails and the amount of emails that go out, I'm going to caution you on being blacklisted. Many of you are familiar with the blacklist. There's not a lot of heads bouncing. Let me tell you how the blacklist works, because once you're on it, it is a true challenge to get off of it. So if you're blacklisted, it means that Google, all these, the internet gods, have determined that you're spamming people. I'll tell you, one of the #1 ways this happens in your dealership is how many of you are sending email campaigns to your database of customers. Maybe service specials, newsletters. If you send too many of those and they go unopened, you're risking getting yourself blacklisted. So it's an algorithm of what's being sent, the frequency things are being sent, and are they being opened? Because how many of you guys, as just a consumer in the market, you can look in your email right now and you know what's spam and you know what you want to read.
Yeah.
The folks that don't get their emails opened, you're risking being blacklisted. I'm going to tell you, I've talked to a couple of dealers the last workshop, and it took them months to get off the blacklist. So that you understand what happens when you're blacklisted. It means no email you send from your dealership, from your server, will be delivered to any inbox. Spam only. Even if it's a non-automated, I type it myself. If you're on the blacklist, no email that comes from your server will go into an inbox. So I shopped some dealerships. I'm like, guys, you suck. I've shopped. You didn't even email me. I'm like, no, we did. We sent you like 4 emails. And they were blacklisted. So be careful. If you've got a marketing director who thinks that sending 4 email blasts a month is a proactive way to market, be careful. You need to make sure we're looking at the return. Are they open? What are they generating for us? Because if it's yielding minimal results, back off.
You just pick it up from the actual email account, or you're at the server reset?
It comes from your IP. Okay. Sometimes it'll be your CRM because they trace back into those servers, and they'll blacklist you.
So not just switching email addresses.
No, it's going back to your email server. Don't spam people. I mean, it was cool in the beginning, but it ain't cool no more. We don't like it. We don't look at them. I can't tell you how many. I'm a member of so many frequent flyer and rewards programs. I can't tell you how many emails I get that I just breeze over them. I know what's in it. I've looked at one once, so I don't need to look again. Or what's always fun, oh yeah, 12/16. There goes the what squirrel? You know, we just or we have that, and you know you all have this too. So to prevent yourself from being spammed, because you know that a company spams, you know you all have that one email address that you will give to anyone. You know that when you go, hey, I'll give you a 10, you go to the store and they say, give you 10% discount if I get your email address today. Oh, I've got one. Here it is. And that's the one you look at, I don't know, once every couple of months. And it's like, delete all this. It's so full of junk. So again, this just runs through how, and if you guys want this information, I can get it to you, of how you get yourself on a blacklist. It's from your reputation, it's the numbers, it's a score assigned to the IP or source, and it's based on that algorithm that we just talked about, of what's open, not open, the results of your campaigns. Also look at your domain. Complaints. You know that button that you have in your email, when you can send it to spam, that's considered a complaint. The content of your email. I can provide you guys a list. These servers, what picks up spam, it's a computer, it's an algorithm. They're looking for certain things, certain words, certain punctuations, capitalizations. You know, the things that our CRM manufacturers, the things that they tell us you should have in an email, a map, multiple links to different vehicles, a link to your website, a link to this, and that. Those are what spam filters pick up as solicitations. They also have keywords that they look for. I have a list, it's like 4 pages long, of words in the auto industry that you should not use in emails. And I've read the list and I'm thinking, well, how the heck am I going to ever communicate with anyone? Contact us, those kinds of things that you put in emails. Those are what gets picked up by the spam filter. So I'm going to give you a tip of the day. This is going to be the best tip of the day because it's currently still fooling most spam filters. If you will change the subject line on all of your emails going out of your CRM to begin with RE: space subject line. What does that indicate? That it's a reply. So spam filters say, oh, reply's cool. Because you know, I'm replying. That RE indicates reply. I changed that in most of the stores I work with, and the emails started going through. Except for that one was blacklisted. Nothing I could do to help them. So RE: go back to your old school typing days, space. So it reads that. So you guys have to remember, 90% of all consumers, 90% of all consumers that shop online want to be called. Do you know why most of those emails that you get say preferred method of contact email? Most lead providers have that checked as a default. You have to actually uncheck it. Go to your dealerships today, look at your own website. And you'll find when you submit that form, it's pre-checked. You can change that setting with most of your back-end tools on your own website to remove that check. So we look at it, or gotta love the sales people look at it and like, well, I'm not calling them. It says preferred method of contact, email only. Auto Trader, all of them default with it checked. 90% of all consumers are looking to be contacted. So, how quickly should the phone call go out? What's your timing on that? Until within 30 minutes is too long. It's too long. When that autoresponder, that first email goes out, that phone call should be happening too. Think about the expectations we've created in the world today. If you're not fast, you suck. If Amazon wasn't so efficient with their communication, they wouldn't be as loved. There's a service in this area that I use as an example because I always get dealers that say, well, you call, you text, you email, it's too much. And I tell you, sometimes it's not enough. So there's a service in this area that, guys, remember I'm from Abilene, Texas, small town. We don't have some of these fancy things like they have here in the city. So there's a service called Peapod. Do you guys know what Peapod is? Peapod is where I can go to an online grocery store and I can shop for my groceries and they deliver them. So I can shop for my groceries the day before I go home off of a trip and have them delivered at the same time that I'm getting home. And they carry them in for you, put them right inside the door. That service amazes me with their communication. I get phone calls, emails, and texts from them when I do it. As soon as I submit the order, it's a phone confirmation. I get an email and a text. The email's letting me know that I've got a certain amount of time to modify that order. I get an email and a text that tells me order's closed. I get a confirmation call before delivery saying that to you, remember, today is your delivery. Email and text to follow. I get an email and text that tells me when it's left the warehouse. I get an email and text updating me throughout its journey across town to come to me. I get an email and a text and a phone call right before the driver arrives. Text says, driver is about to arrive. I mean, I'm fascinated at this point. The email text also says, driver is unloading. I'm at the window going, that's good. I like this. They go so far and sent email and a text that said the driver is at your door. And sure enough, wow. So I love it. I need it. I have a terrible schedule, as most of us do today. I need to know. I need to be in the know. So be careful. Don't be too old school in your thinking. We're in a communication-driven society. We expect it, we want it, we're impressed by it. But sometimes in the auto industry, we're still scared of it. You have to remember that the phone call sells the appointment. The appointment sells the relationship. The relationship sells the car. You know, we've taught in this industry over and over and over. You can't cram that car through the phone and sell it over the phone. You'll get a salesperson argue with you all the time. I can sell a car over the phone. It's really not the car they're selling. They've learned how to at least sell a relationship over the phone. It's the relationships that sell cars. I'm going to tell you, I pick on salespeople and I tell them, I always train that they don't do all the right things, that they're not always the most confident in certain areas. I get to say it because I was one of them. But we can't survive without them. I need those guys, gals with those type A personalities that jump out there in front of folks and make friends. build trust, build rapport, and sell cars. I need a totally different animal behind the phone. Okay, and behind the internet. Content of emails. I remember I told you guys I was shopping online locally. It's hard to read this on the screen. But when I went on their little black book site for the evaluate the trade and all of that, I got an email back from a Mitsubishi dealership in El Cajon, California. But I'm here in Schaumburg. Check your links, check your things on your website. What kind of emails are your vendors sending? This was just a template that they put together and they forgot to change the top part of it when the vendor signed them up. But all of their emails it was going for an internet manager in California. Broke it. Oh, I didn't get it in there. My favorite email, I guess I took it out because it was hard to read. And I'm going to tell you, most of you have this email. Find it and make sure it's being used properly. The email that says, it's been a while since you've been to the dealership. Or it's been a while since we've talked to you. I had not been to the dealership, nor had I talked to them. How did that make me feel as a consumer? Good job, guys. You're really on top of your game. Be careful the content. Those autoresponders, those emails that go out, I am a template fan. I believe that we should have very good templates built for our staff, in the BDC especially. I have a BDC manager in Texas. I give her a hard time over and over. Like, spell check, please spell check. Actually, I told her don't type anything else. Don't you type anything because your spelling is terrible. She's like, I just get in a hurry. I'm like, it's terrible. Make sure that we have effective templates built, but not the template that says day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that we don't look at it just because it's day 3 we send it, because that's when we get the ones that say, well, it's been a while since we've spoken. When we spoke. We have plenty of templates to choose from, because it's important today that if you inquire online with me, my dealership, that I acknowledge your question, your inquiry. Now, hear what I'm saying. I acknowledge it. I might not provide you the answer you're looking for, but I at least want you to know that I've acknowledged you've asked availability, price, color, something. So make sure we're building templates that fit the questions so that when we send it, we're not sending something that makes no sense. It doesn't look automated. And I'll also tell you, we have suggested templates. I have a lot of suggested templates that are so very basic. It looks like I typed you an email. It doesn't have my pretty logo, doesn't have color. It just looks like I typed you an email. Because that's really what the customer's looking for, is to feel like you're communicating with me. So check your templates, be smart, shop your competition. Does yours look like theirs? Most of the time when I go into the market and shop, I can shop 2 Chevy stores close by. And it's almost a mirror image. So what does General Motors do and Ford do? They suggest, well, these are the templates that we like for our dealers to send. And so everybody's like, well, I don't know what to say. I like them too. And we all start using them. A lot of the manufacturers say you must do certain things in those emails. And so what do? We all send whatever they suggest. What sets you apart from your competition? What is your marketable difference? And do I see it in your communication? We did there was a survey done of first responses from a dealership. It was I think 500 dealerships that We got results back from where we shop, and only 111 was my first responsive phone call. 295 was email. The best practice, that's what you came here for, best practices. Call first. Call exactly at the same time that email goes. When you're sending emails, just like we talked about, what distinguishes you from the rest? What makes you different? What makes me as a consumer feel like you care? Get away from using the obvious templates. Click here for the pretty map. Here's my beautiful logo. Here's my picture. Here's my all the things. Here's the click a link for Black Book. Here's click a link for Carfax. Those obvious templates. After every conversation that you have with an internet customer, send them an email recapping your conversation. Now I'm taking time. Now you care about me. You listened because you've now recapped it and sent it back. After every phone call, send a thank you. Thanks for talking. Thanks for taking time out to talk to me. Use at least 3 elements from your phone call in your email response. So whatever your conversation was, pick 3 highlights, 3 bullet points, and make sure you follow up with an email and it has those 3 things in there. So I always try to put myself in the consumer's shoes. If I were shopping, because I have a shopping problem. If I were shopping, would that impress me? What would impress me? Would it make me feel good? It's not always what the manufacturer, sometimes what our dealers think is right. Sometimes we need to be the consumer and start responding the way we would appreciate. Oh, here it is. I did get it in there. Nobody here is from Golf Mill 40, are they? Our general manager has provided our internet sales team with a list of customers that are both in equity in their vehicles and currently own a vehicle that we need in our pre-owned inventory. I've never bought from them. I've never provided them with my vehicle information at Golf Mill Ford. Makes sense that I get this email, right? And of course, it's the little things too. Hello again. You never spoke. We like to pay top dollar for our current customers' vehicles rather than an unknown vehicle because they've seen me or my vehicle. So again, the things that we send out, we have to be careful. Honest, I don't even know who she is, but I still get spam from them. You guys want to take a minute? Any questions that you have about internet processes, beliefs? I think it's also a good time that we should open up the floor to we can answer the questions as a group too. If maybe you do something, you like something. That's what we're here for, is to help each other. No one in the room is a direct competitor, I don't think.
Is there 5, 6, and 7?
I
thought you said there were 7 ways to distinguish yourself.
Oh, there probably was.
What, did I miss that?
No, I was wondering the same thing.
There probably was. Yep. Well, that's what I get for doing PowerPoint in the last minute this morning. Yes, I actually have to print it out too, so I'll get you a printout for it.
Excuse me, sorry.
It's okay. What other questions, other than Chad forgetting things, which is not out of the ordinary? Anything that you guys do that is you think is unique? So we don't have any direct competitors. Any best practices you want to share with the group? Suggestions? You guys are going to talk to this group today. Well, they took my phone. What time is it getting to be? 11:54? Good. Next. Did I actually talk enough today? Maybe the other guys did. I know that Joni's going to want to come in and close. I'm going to run just see where she is hiding at real quick. And then we'll get you guys on the way. Anybody else going to need some help with transportation for the airport? I know I've asked this over and over. I just don't want us to leave and somebody call later and go, lost, trouble. If you guys also if you want those spam words, that list, I can get it to you as well. It's an enormous list of words that you would never think someone would catch as spam, but I have those available for you guys too. Joni will be in here in just 1 second. And she's going to look through the agenda and go, oh my God, you forgot that, and you forgot this, and you didn't say this. She might be a little critical of me. So what are you going to do? What's the first thing you're going to do when you walk back to into your dealership after being at this workshop? What are you going to have? What are you going to talk about at that meeting?
So my BDC is so pretty good. So we got something.
What's the first thing that you're going to do when you walk back in your store?
I'm going to print out my 100 of those referral sheets and kick myself with that from the fill out.
We were talking about this last night when we were sitting at the cocktail reception. I'll tell you the better way to get it to happen. You go out there, so let me show you how this is done. And you present it confidently to the customer. It's what we're looking for as salespeople. Where's my manager, TO? Help! All right? So we need to be good at it. The first thing you're going to do, you better talk to your manager about scheduling. So that you have enough time on the phone. The first thing you're going to do after leaving this workshop is go back to your dealership.
I'm going to talk to my manager about self-generated. They don't think we're hurting them at all.
You've got to be consistent with it. You've got to be consistent. What's the first thing you're going to do when you go back to your store now? You have a list of things. Perfect.
25 to 30 people are going to be called per day, self-generated, that way we can get our numbers. The 45-minute rule, I think that's a good idea when you have bad contact rate. Switch up what you're calling. Every day I'll just write a product pricing board and have them newsfeed it before they write their hourly numbers, that way they know it. If you don't feed the call, it's not a viable appointment, so you don't get them.
What can you do?
Those were my ideas. So.
Well, she took them, so now what are you going to do to make a difference?
I'm going to start doing my green board every hour. We never do that. We don't write our numbers up there every hour, which we really should. I think it makes it go by faster. So.
What about you ladies?
Asking for referrals because we need to work on that.
You guys remember, when asking for referrals, don't forget I know that can be a tough question. Let me ask you an easier one. Of all the people you do know, that's usually the thing that's forgotten the most. Tim, what's the first thing you're going to do when you get back to your dealership?
Start establishing that BDC.
That's a good plan. I like that plan.
Did you have
I did.
I have already talked to my group, but we're talking to everybody. Even if it's a wrong number or, do not call and they hang up and it's like, oh, call back, oh, I'm sorry, we got disconnected. Just talk to everybody and try and get something out of everybody.
That wrong number for your best opportunity of the day. They drove something. I think you probably have been told what you're gonna do when you get back to your dealership. What's the first?
I know, I just.
Yeah, let's say you have a plan now.
If you don't get a wrong phone number, just dial a wrong number. I do it all the time. I just dial,
Yeah.
I go, Mary? They're like, no, I go, really? Oh my God, you're done.
You're on.
You're in another room, good. All right, so, words of wisdom. When you go back, never lose your sense of humor, okay? Because the car business can make people really frustrated at times. You gotta be flexible, guys. You have to be flexible in the car business. You do. So don't lose your sense of humor. Don't lose your self-respect, okay? Stay the course. Best BDC managers are leaders that take ownership. So when you have a rep that's sitting there and they're struggling in their hour, do not just simply report it. Or it again, Mary. Change that course, okay? Make it happen. And I'm telling you, you do what we outlined for you, your dealer will build you a shrine. They will, okay? Absolutely. And there's living proof all around you. So go back and rock and roll it, okay? We're always available for you, to you. Text us, let us know, whatever we can do, okay? All right, thank you for coming. We appreciate it very much.
Okay, when you get the next 30 minutes.
I'm really the right dress today. I could get an apple on your body.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, fine. Well, you're a HR person now. Protective. Oh, man.
You know what, guys? I can do this one.
So it's awesome.
You guys need to take this number. This is Caitlin's office number, not her cell number. Okay, so I need to get this number too. Okay. So write it down.
My purse feels like sometimes it turns into a cake. No, I'm looking. Oh. Right on the outside of the other side. Okay, so it's
847.
Caitlin, right?
Caitlin. 847-262-3026. She's in employment accordingly. And if you need any of us, she will be able to find out.
You want to go as you are?
Alrighty.
Say
Next time.
Yes, sir. Company?
All right. All right.
Nice to meet you. I heard a lot about
Yeah,
it.
good. Nice to meet you. Got your stuff, okay. All right, sir.
Thank you very
Nice to
much.
meet you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Really, enjoyable meeting.
Thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely.
We try to do our best. You know, we
We
do
all
our
want
best.
to make more money.
Yes, that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Emphasis on making more money.
Exactly. All right. All right, I gotta take all my stuff.